right, so we are back. Thank you again for staying tuned into Pan-African Television. This is the news review segment here on your number one station. Again, let me say a very beautiful, happy birthday to my big sister, Dr. Owusu Danso, who is in Mankesim currently in our father's house crying that if my old man were alive, he would be the first to call to wish her happy birthday. Well, I'm doing that on his behalf, and I'm doing that on the national television. So, happy birthday to you, Nanaya. Stop crying. It is well. And a special good morning to the incoming MP for the Naledigo Gambaga constituency, Honorable Alhaji Baba Seidu Isifu. You are winning that seat, undoubtedly. You've won. And a few friends that I have, Binduri, Robert Hugagna Blem, you know you've won already. As for Ibi Husseini Chalemi, I went to his constituency. The love that I saw, the outpour of love, it's unimaginable. The defeat cannot stare at him at this material moment. One Central, it's a bit tricky, but I wish Honorable Rashid Pelpo well. And as for Myong, I'm told the NDC guy, Charlie, if somebody no do any magic, the guy will lose that season. Myong. Our friend. Oh yeah, Abdulaziz. I'm told that people are upset with you. They don't even want to see him. Abdul, Charlie, we go see him. We go see how we go do him.
He will fight you.
Well, I can't say the truth. I'm telling him. If nobody is telling you, I'm telling him that as for Myong, it's looking a bit shaky for him. So he should work harder. Maybe the other parliamentary aspirants or candidates should go and support him.
Oh, okay.
Like what they did for Francis Asensubuachi, the big walk. It was a huge success. Congratulations to you, my friend, Asensubuachi. That's for that seat there, Charlie. You know you've won it already.
Right.
Bantama there, Charlie. Yeah, you won even before the primaries. Bantama Asensubuachi.
Only had national security personality.
Hey, man.
So I'm just saying it.
Don't do that. Now, you want me to mention Nakoyo, eh? Anyway, there's also a CPP candidate in Kumbungu, and Nabila.
Yes.
Nabila is winning that seat. It will be tough, but he will shock. What's the hashtag again?
Electric shock.
He will give the duopoly an electric shock. Electric shock. And Bernard Mona, you are also contesting the Nadoli Kalio seat. I wish you all the best, and I know that it's difficult on the ground for you because you don't have money. But Charlie, say it'll be money alone go do the trick. You have paid your dues, and the people will duly reward you for that. So you are winning that seat. It will be very tough, maybe with a very small margin, but you will still win. As for the winning in there, you go chop, but you go hustle somebody, you go chop. Yeah. But as for me on there. Suhili, I was in Tamale.
Oh, well.
I was in Tamale. I spent two nights in Tamale. So I went around. I was asking Charlie here who. When I went to Haruna Idris's constituency, I was asking who. They said, Baba Su has this question. Haruna Idrisu, it's like Bantama. Then I asked about Suhili's constituency. He said, Suhili, why are you asking? Then I asked Tamale Central. I said, this guy will win. Like, what's your problem? This guy, where are you from? Then I asked, okay, Binduri, and say, Robert Fugagana Blem will win, hands down. I said, what Central? I say, what Central? The woman is giving Rashid people some tough time because the woman get money. Rashid tell her.
That's the biggest problem. Loot.
Yeah.
Looted from the state.
The woman get money. She's buying the hair dryers for the hairdressers. Imagine people.
He's unable to match.
But he go win. Rashid go win. Then I asked, so how about Nadoli Kalio? They said, Nadoli, it's difficult because originally it's for NDC. But Bernard Mona, because he's played his role, they may consider him. So for the first time, they will vote for
PNC.
Yes. Then I don't know whether they were right or wrong. But when I asked about Myong, the guy paused. Said, Kwame, if you know that guy, go and tell him that I said he needs to work harder. Because as for Myong, Lie. You know, there's a musician in Ghana say, another lie. Then I asked about Nalerugu Gambaga. They say, oh, the people say they don't want to see Adia Aliba.
I thought she was.
Oh, they don't want to see her. Even the MPP people, they don't want to see her.
The Minister for Local Government.
Oh, local government, they don't want to see her. Adia Aliba.
The Kwame, you be doing a lot of exit polls here.
I'm telling you. Look, if my predictions, if they don't come to pass, laugh. When you see me, just start laughing at me. I'm saying that Nalerugu Gambaga, it's a foregone conclusion. Foregone conclusion. But as for Myung, the guy, he needs some magic wand to be able to change the minds of the people. Anyway, welcome again. Let me introduce the topics to you. Ivorians await results after 10th presidential ballot. That's an African story. Second wave COVID-19 likely. GHS warns. Kweku Azar, Professor Kweku Azar. He pummels Ekufuado over handling of $1 million Kroll and Associates deal. This matter. Kroll and Associates. I know you have my matter.
Yeah, I have my matter.
Hey, I just have Macho. Government records 9% deficit from January to September of 2020. Economic Times. PPA CEO's appointment terminated over conflict of interest misconduct. Ghanaian Times story on page 12. Well, these are the topics that we've tabled for our conversation this morning. Look, I just returned from the North, so I have chopped medicine. You can't do me nothing. I've gone to chop medicine. You can't do me nothing. Did you see the toilet I ate at luxury restaurant? Don't try. There's medicine in the green. So, if you are a member of parliament and you think that I'm mafiaing you too much, you can't stand it. That one is your business. But I know that Myung there. No, I don't pick it. Myung.
But you have to pick it.
Nakoyo, how are you? Good morning. And who else? Who else? Nakoyo, are you happy now?
Yeah, I'm happy.
Because that woman, she has lost. That MPP woman, the one who went to fire yeah, she's lost. What's her name again? How Akumsi now? No, How Akumsi is lost. She's lost. Anyway, Mr. Anaku.
Yes.
Who are parliamentary candidates for? Who's our parliamentary candidate for Kwame Kwame? Because I want to address Afu to lose.
I don't know.
Oh, why? Do you actually have a candidate?
Yes, we do. We do have 48 candidates all over. As you know,
for 275 constituencies.
yes, indeed.
You have only 48.
Yes, because in 2016, the miscalculation we did was to have put all our resources, to thin out our resources in all the 275.
Okay.
Which was not concentrated. You understand? We don't have the luxury of any loot from the state treasury to share. So this time, the little we have, we want to concentrate it on 48 constituencies.
I see.
Like Kumbungu, like Jomoro, Adenta, yes, probably.
Adenta?
Yes, Adenta. And elsewhere, we want to concentrate on those places.
I see. But you don't want to concentrate on Bantama?
No, the truth of the matter is that there are certain areas in this
You don't want to try?
there are certain areas in this country where the people have been misled to think that, right or wrong, they should vote for any Tom, Dick, and Harry. You understand? Whether their lives change or not. And that is actually what we are fighting. To change, to have a mindset change for the people of Ghana.
The systemic rigidity.
That the duopoly has been in power since 1992. Look at your life and see what changes you've had. That you finish school, look at the changes. If you don't know anybody, do you get a job to do? If you don't have a party card, do you get a job to do? You understand? Even if you live in East Legon, outside your luxury walls, it's squalor, raw sewage, dirt. How can you have public squalor with private affluence coexisting. Do you get my point?
I get it, yeah.
And so we are telling the people of this country, of course, you have, the good people of this country have the privilege of either maintaining this the status quo, the squalor of the status quo, or attempting to go for a new paradigm, which is the CPP.
Thank you. So, as far as we know, Domi Kwame, no CPP candidate. Bantama.
I'm not very sure. That's why I didn't know.
Because I wanted to go and contest on the ticket of the CPP, and I changed my mind. So there's no candidate in Domi.
I thought I was not available to see you.
Thank you, Mr. Hineko. Let me start with you, by the way.
Yes.
In respect of what is happening in the Ivory Coast. So Ivorians await results after 10th presidential ballot, and I'm sure you've been following events in Ivory Coast characterizing their elections.
Yeah.
You know, the political bulldozing, if there's any word like that, and the buccaneerism and things like that. So let's hear from you in respect of this matter and what you think or what you envisage or your projections into the future after they officially announced who has won the presidency. Please.
Okay, once again, a very good morning to the cherished viewers of Pan-African TV. Good morning to my co-panelists.
Delali.
Also.
Oh, I didn't introduce
and,
you.
Yes, and my greetings to Nabila in the Kumbungu constituency, who is standing for the Convention People's Party, and for our candidate in Jomoro, who is standing for us. And my greetings, of course, goes to Ivor Green Street and our chairperson, Frimpoma Sapon Kumankuma, and Nana Yajantwa, our general secretary, who are on the campaign trail, who are campaigning for the CPP. And to all the CPP supporters, adherents, and foot soldiers.
Who's a PC for Jomoro? Samia?
Not Samia.
Okay. Right.
Samia has gone independent.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. With the Ivorian election, the truth of the matter is that let's look at the political situation in West Africa. And the political situation in West Africa is not the best. In Nigeria, we have almost civil war in Northeast, a low guerrilla campaign in the Delta, and now we have civil unrest amongst the youth who are rebelling against the state, a repressive and coercive state who are using the police, the SARS, to kill people, murder their citizens, torture them, etc. So Nigeria, which has 62% of the population of West Africa, is in turmoil. And of course, if anything happens in Nigeria, the whole of West Africa is in trouble. We have a civil war almost in southern Cameroon, which is adjacent to West Africa, Nigeria. We have huge problems in Mali, an economic insurgency, an Islamic insurgency, as well as a secessionist insurgency by the Tuaregs in the Azar region of northern Mali. We have constitutional problems in Guinea, where the president is forcing to go for a third unconstitutional term. And there are problems there of instability in Guinea. And now we also have Islamic insurgency in Burkina Faso. And then now we have the Ivorian crisis, where an usurper, somebody who didn't constitutionally win an election and was placed in power by the French army, a French mercenary force, now wants to break the constitution and go for a third term, and has forcibly done that. And there's crisis. And quite a lot of people have died in the run-up to the Ivorian election and during the election period on Saturday. Indeed, the Ivorian action is a problem, is a tragedy. It's a tragedy because 10 years ago, there was civil war in Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast, which was projected as the model of economic stability, of the success of the French and Western developmental model in Africa, although it was also a one-party state, by the way, for a very long time, and had a dictator called Houphouët-Boigny, who proscribed all parties. You understand? And subverted other countries like Ghana. You understand? It was held up as a country we were supposed to look at. Then all of a sudden, it fell into chaos. And this is a country where even the presidential palace, they pay rent to the French. This is a country where they have to keep their reserves in the French treasury and pay a colonial tax to the French government. Because without the colonial tax from the French Francophone countries, France itself will be in economic shambles. Many people don't know that. You understand? And so the French are deeply involved in supporting this usurper to rig this election, close the political space in Ivory Coast, and maintain himself in power so that French interest and other Western interest in Ivory Coast will be maintained. French interest in controlling the marketing of cocoa, French interest in maintaining even the planting and marketing of banana and ananas, pineapples, and French interest in controlling the ports of Abidjan and Port Houphouët and others. The only hydroelectric power which gives electricity, which is in central Ivory Coast, they are all owned by France. Almost everything in Ivory Coast is owned by France, not by the Ivorian people. And they want to maintain it. And the only person who can maintain it for them is their surrogate and lucky Ouattara. And it is very serious. One other dimension of it, which is a tragedy, is the fact that with all that is happening, in Mali, the West African ECOWAS head of state were able to tell the Malians that, oh, if you don't have a civilian head of state, we'll put sanctions on you. Of course, they went around it by getting a former military to be made head of state. What have they told Ouattara? What have they told Alpha Conde in Guinea? What have they told Buhari in Nigeria? They've all kept quiet. Are they going to wait for the fire to engulf us before they try the fire brigade tactics? Or they must tell Ouattara, no, Ouattara, these 2 terms, that's what your constitution says, that is that, we won't allow you to go for a second term. Guinea, Alpha Conde, we won't allow you to go for a second term. Why are they quiet? Is it because they also have intentions and dreams of doing same? Looking if Ouattara succeeds, then see how they can do it in Ghana. As for Togo, they do it always anyway. How they can do it elsewhere? Is that their intention? Is that why the heads of state, our ECOWAS President Nana Akufo-Addo, is quiet? Why isn't he telling his supposed friend, the friend of the MPP, which is Ouattara, that no, my friend, you have gone a step too far? Because the people who are going to suffer are the ordinary Ivorian people. And I hope that the Nigerian youth has taught the youth of other West African countries something, that they can rise up, stand up, and be counted. And I hope the Ivorian youth do the same.
Thank you very much, Mr. Justice Heneku. Let's now come to you, Delali Sewopo, hear from you on this subject matter, please.
Kwame, good morning to your cherished viewers, and good morning to my big boss, Mr. Heneku. And I know they are working so hard to bring the CPP back to power, God willing. and especially getting to my incoming MP, Felix Narko. You know, yesterday we had our campaign lunch.
You did, eh? We weren't invited.
A very massive, you know.
Pan-African TV wasn't invited, but it's okay.
Pan-African TV is obviously, Owusu Senye's constituency is your home, so you don't even need an invitation to be there, Kwame. Kwame, I mean, you know, Chairman Ajari is waiting for you. Kwame, I just want to use this opportunity to thank the rank and file of the party.
Okay.
You know, for coming up in their numbers to grace the occasion. I mean, yesterday we sent a clear signal that indeed the NDC is committed to winning the Owusu Senye's constituency by any means possible. And special greeting to the national chairman of the party and the national executive. My own boss, lawyer Sami Jemfi, was there yesterday to grace the occasion, and other government appointees, previous government appointees were there to grace the occasion. Kwame, this issue about Ivory Coast, I think the other time we discussed about it. For me, the issue about tension, waiting result here and there, that is not even the focus of my argument. So even, should there even be a reason for Mr. Ouattara to contest for an election for the third time after serving 2 consecutive terms? I mean, this is a man that in 2010, we were told that he has had a Western education, he's exposed internationally, and for that matter, he is bringing certain level of sanity into the political space as far as the African continent is concerned. He was hailed by, what do you call it, the colonial masters, as somebody who is coming to redeem the people of Ivory Coast. After serving 2 consecutive terms, what is the basis of him contesting again? Why is France, why are they not saying anything about this? Why all of a sudden the international community are so quiet about what is going on in Ivory Coast? Is it because Ouattara is doing their bidding, and for that matter, they don't have any complaint whatsoever? Is it because the man there is their surrogate, and for that matter, he's always pandering to their back and call, and for that matter, they are not able to make any statement to this effect? I mean, it saddens me, and honestly speaking, I thought when people are, you know, getting older, and at the point that he has gotten to, the people have done you a great service by giving you an opportunity to rule the country for 8 solid years. What is it that you want to do that you couldn't do? Not all of a sudden. You have found a way to amend the constitution to the extent that you are eligible to contest for third term. To the extent that almost 40 out of the 44 people who are going to contest this election, 40 of them have been disqualified. Your major opponents have been marginalized. They've been humiliated. Some of them have even been declared persona non grata in their own country. And this is a man, that is why I keep on saying that this is a man, when election was held in 2010, 3,000 people lost their life. In that particular electoral process, 3,000 people lost their life. And that was this same election that brought you to power. That was this same election that sent somebody like Laurent Gbagbo to face what we call the International Criminal Court. He was incarcerated or remanded for, I think he was in prison for almost about how long, almost more than 4 years or whatever. He was recently released. It was out of an election that brought Mr. Ouattara to power. And all of a sudden, you want to perpetuate yourself on the good people of Ivory Coast. You are so bent on becoming a monarch. I mean, I thought when we read history about some of these things that happen, some of these people who were in power for 30 years, 40 years, 20 years, and what have you. I thought Africa has gone beyond this. I thought Africa has relegated this kind of, politics, this kind of obsession with power, this kind of, people pageant to entrench themselves in power by every means possible to even, cripple their political opponents. Well, all of a sudden, we are having what we call a democratic dictator, a democratic tyrant in Ivory Coast. And I'm even expecting the chairman of the ECOWAS, who fortunately happened to be our president, President Nnamdi Akufo-Addo, a man in opposition. He made several comments. He called himself a Democrat. The president is a Democrat. That's what we're told. And if the president is a Democrat and the president knows that, listen, Alassane Ouattara is one of the closest friends of the president, if I'm not mistaken. So why is the president not making a bold statement to the effect that, listen, this thing is wrong? You've had the opportunity to serve the country. They've elected you. You won an election. They've re-elected you. So why can't you just exit peacefully and allow the good people of Ivory Coast to determine who ruled them subsequently? We were told that the man who happens to be your favorite died mysteriously. And just because the man died mysteriously, so on what basis was he making that man his preference into this particular election? Does it mean if the man had not passed on, he would have, and what do you call, he would have allowed the man to contest? So what it means is this: the man who was his preferred candidate who died, he was just going to be a surrogate. It means Alassane Ouattara was going to rule through a proxy. It means he was going to be the one calling for the shot behind the scene. I don't think the youth of Africa, I don't think we are ready for this. I don't think it sent a good image about Africa. I thought we were making progress within the sub-region. I thought gradually Africa was gravitating from all this military, what they call dictatorship, all this, what they call it, people's penchant to hold on to power. Even when they lose what they call election, they still want to hold on to power. I thought we have gone beyond this. But I have no any doubt whatsoever that all these things that is happening in Ivory Coast, their colonial master, the imperialists are the ones behind it. Nobody can convince me about it. Because the sort of things that we heard, the sort of statement that was emanating from France, the sort of statement that was emanating from the superpowers, relative to the era of what we call the Laurent Gbagbo, that is not what we are witnessing. They are so mute, they are so quiet. That is why certain people held the view. When Alassane Ouattara was contesting to become the president of Ivory Coast, a lot of people had this view that, listen, this man is not coming on his own accord. This man is being pushed. This man is being remote controlled by this, what they call it, the imperialists. And that is exactly what we are witnessing today. So for me, time is the mother of all vindication. Once again, people held the view that indeed Alassane Ouattara was not his own man. He's been remote controlled by the what they call the Western powers. And today, he has actually proven that indeed he's not a man of his own. And I think the youth of Ivory Coast must rise up to the occasion. We cannot allow certain people who have had the opportunity to rule a country think that the country belongs to them. We can't allow this thing to fester on. Because when it happens like that, it more or less erodes all the gains that we have made as a continent. And mind you, concluding, Ghana is not far from Ivory Coast. Even before the election, do you know the number of people who crossed the border to Ghana? So whatever that happens in Africa, the ripple effect will affect us as a country. It will affect us politically, it will affect us socially, and it will affect us economically. So that is why we are calling on the President of the Republic of Ghana, President Danso Akufo-Addo. We know Alassane Ouattara is your friend. Make a bold statement and condemn what is happening in Africa because it's uncalled for. And the President must speak. Kwame.
Thank you very kindly, my brother Delali Sewapor there. Now, let me go for this quick commercial break. When I return, we're going to be kickstarting the conversation with what has been captured on the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper, which says second wave COVID-19 likely, GHS1. GHS1. So, quick commercial break. Stay with us. Don't move the mouse. Just one advert. We'll be back shortly.
Do you desire to develop a career in media and journalism, beauty and cosmetology, fashion and designing? Then the best institution to help you achieve your desired goals is GH Schools. In our media school, we offer 1-year certificate and 2 years diploma courses in television and film production, journalism and media studies, journalism and media art. In our cosmetology school, we offer 2 years full cosmetology course, 1.5 years beauty therapy course, 1 year beauty specialist course. In the fashion school, our programs include 1 year certificate course in fashion design, 2 years diploma course in fashion design and technology. At GH Schools, industrial attachment is assured. We offer 70% practical training and 30% theory. Our fees are affordable and paid in installments. Register online at www.admissions.ghschools.online. GH Schools. Train, practice, achieve.
you very kindly for staying tuned in. Now, let me start with you, Delali Seropo, on the second subject. Second wave COVID-19 likely. GHS what, please?
Okay, the issue about...
That's what COVID, they've badly handled it too.
No,
it's only Mr. Enek who is observing the protocols.
Kwame,
please, let's hear.
Kwame, the truth is, the issue about COVID, for me, I always continue to make the statement that I think Africa, we are blessed. I think Ghana, even as a country, we are blessed. I think what is basically protecting us from COVID is what do you call it? The Almighty God. But if we are supposed to talk about COVID relative to how we've been able to adhere to the protocol, I think then Ghana would have become one of the epicenters within the sub-region, because even those who are in authority, who are supposed to be the one leading with example when it comes to how we adhere to the COVID what they call protocol, they have violated it from day one. We have seen ministers of state violated it. They decided to get out of the hospital and even went to the extent of infecting people with the COVID-19 virus. We have had instances where the ruling party had their primaries, where the caution or maybe all the protocols were thrown to the dogs. And the only thing that the president did at that time is to warn them and tell them that henceforth nobody should repeat that same mistake again. Even as recent times, the kind of the daily update that we were getting relative to how many people have been infected, how many people have the active cases, how many people are in a critical condition, and even the jurisdiction where the virus is fast spreading. As we speak, the updates have stopped coming. It's pretty much obvious that when it comes to COVID, as we speak, the issue about people who have contracted the virus, those who have been discharged, what has been the update with respect to their current condition, we don't know about it. I think what the government was so much focused about when it comes to the COVID was the fact that they were so much interested in the amount of money that was allocated to them by World Bank. The Stabilization Fund. It was about 1 billion bequeathed to them by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the visionary leader. And that is what they were so interested in. And it was one of the reasons why that the Auditor General, which eventually will be coming to that we need to basically call for an auditing with respect to how much how they have spend the COVID fund. Because as we speak, we are talking almost about $1 billion from the IMF, from the World Bank. As we speak, Kwame, tell me whether there's something that this government have done relative to how much that money have been spent. What they are basically doing is this: going to the marketplaces. And you know what? I've never seen a government so desperate to hang on to power like the NPP. I've never seen a government that has lost its popularity, that has lost virtually all the goodwill that he had when he assumed office in 2017. He go to marketplaces, he start giving 500 Ghana cedis to market women. And what you tell the market women is, oh, this is money coming from President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He said we should come and give that money to you, this money to you. Sometimes 5,000 Ghana cedis, sometimes 1,000 Ghana cedis. And what they lie to the market women is, oh, President John Dramani Mahama, when he comes, he's come to take the loan from you. But when you elect President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the money is for you free of charge. And this money does not belong to the president. Even the man whose vision that gave birth to that 1 billion stabilization for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. So I'm using this opportunity to make an appeal to all the market women who are beneficiary of all this money that is being shared to them, that the money does not belong to President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. The money is coming from the stabilization fund. That is the vision of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. And President Mahama have made it categorically, emphatically, on all the during his campaign. Let's just ignore it. Free money, chop it. It belongs to you. It's the money that was kept, or money that was the money that has to do with the vision of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. So when it comes to the issue about COVID, we are thinking that, Kwame, this COVID has basically exposed us. It has basically exposed when it comes to what's in terms of the investment that has made when it comes to the health sector. That is what we were expecting this government to have built upon what President John Dramani Mahama did. Because as we speak, it's obvious that when this COVID issue came up, the issue about the University of Ghana Medical Center, that is the vision of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the Rich Hospital, the Bank of Ghana Hospital, that at a point in time, the minister told us that it will be exclusively for the elites and the middle class in society. These are but for the vision of His Excellency Dramani Mahama, Kwame, we would have been on our knees. So it tells us that all the amounts of money that this government has borrowed, the amounts of money that we have taken from the World Bank, the amount of money that we have taken from the Stabilization Fund, can we point to something concrete, something visible, something that is lasting enough that, listen, this is how much we've spent. We have put this hospital together. We have bought this, we have done this, and for that matter, this is something that will help us to deal with what we call future, what they call emergency of this sort. So when it comes to this issue about COVID and the Ghana Health, the Ghana Health Services, my honest appeal to them is this. I think sometimes we have to be bold and speak truth to power. It doesn't matter who is in government. It doesn't matter who is the president of the Republic of Ghana. It's pretty obvious that the way this government have handled issues relating to COVID has been quite abysmal. If you ask even the sector minister, the current statistics, he will not be able to tell you. If you ask even the president of the Republic of Ghana, which for me, I wouldn't be surprised that the president will not be able to tell you what we have gotten to relative to COVID, because the president has made us aware that consistently the president has not been aware of anything, right? So what I'm just simply saying is this. It might be that God has been very kind to us, maybe owing to the kind of temperate zone that we find ourselves in. Owing to the fact that maybe the African population is more like a youthful population, and for that matter, the immune system is very strong, and for that matter, we'll be able to, fight back when people get infected and what have you. And one thing that we've been so lucky about is about the fact that they say most people within the sub-region are asymptomatic when it comes to the virus. So I think these are some of the things that has really helped us. But when it comes to the policies and the actions and inactions of government, but for nature and God being on our side, but for where we find ourselves as a continent, trust me, it would have been worse than what we are witnessing on TV, what we are witnessing in Europe and probably maybe in America. So in all, what is important is this. One, Kwame, in as much as that Ghana has not been hit so hard compared to other countries, we will still have to demand for an accountability. For that one is something we must demand, because the $1 billion, see, we should be able to, know what that money has been used for. We should be able to know that, okay, this and this is what that money was used for. And ministers of states quickly per the, statement coming from the Ghana Health, services. It means that we must be proactive to ensure that it does not happen in the first place. Because when there was lockdown, when we had this lockdown, the kind of economic hardship people went through. You saw how even when it comes to the distribution of food, where MPP decided to say that, listen, the MPP people are the only people paying tax. The MPP people are first-class citizens. They are Ghanaians, and for that matter, people who don't hold party card of the MPP, they are not Ghanaians. So we don't want to go to an instances where there will be a lockdown. When Delali being a member of the MPP, Mr. Heneku being a member of the CPP, will be sidelined. We will not be giving what we call it, when they are distributing food or distributing relief items, they'll be looking for MPP members and be sharing what we call the food item to them. Okay. Already, Ghanaians have gone through a lot when it comes to the issue about
there's a fundamental problem which, for me, underlines the importance attached to the fight against COVID-19, which has to do with the provision of some special equipment, right?
Yeah.
And I do recall that in most of the submissions that were made by Mr. Kwesi Pratt Jr., he alluded to the fact that we had just about 200 ventilators in this country. And so one would have thought that with the creation of the COVID-19 fund, with the assistance or support given to us by the World Bank, the $1 million, etc., we would have bought a lot more ventilators, because the second wave appears to be very dangerous. UK has to go on a lockdown because now they've hit over 1 million cases. That is not a joke at all. So I just want us to integrate that further, because you're talking about, yes, the updates and all of that. Those are important things to talk about. But fundamentally, what I feel should be discussed has to do with our commitment, the levels of our commitment regarding how we have invested in procuring some equipments that are obviously going to aid in the fight against COVID-19.
Kwame, you see, I appreciate that, Kwame, but the point is this.
No, I agree with that submission, that part of your submission.
Kwame, you see, the point is this. this government have not shown that commitment. See,
because the COVID-19 fund,
Kwame, we know what has happened. This government basically is using a calamity, or more or less a disaster,
a force majeure
that has befell this country to basically make money. Is that like what happened at the Kotoka International Airport?
$150.
My sister said, she came outside the country from and dad funeral. He said over there they are paying $7, and we are taking $150. Kwame, have you asked yourself the people who are the owners of that company? Why is that all of a sudden Noguchi that was doing the testing, and all of a sudden we've taken Noguchi out? And we've given the contract. Who have we given that contract to? Go and do your background check. Kwame, you realize that these people are linked to the Flagstaff House. These people are linked to the corridors of power. So why must we use a misfortune to enrich ourselves? Why is this government, anytime there's a misfortune, anytime there's something, any slightest opportunity, they want to just use it, capitalize on it, and enrich their cronies? So like you said, we were expecting $1 billion, like Uncle Kwesi Pratt said. So how many ventilators have we bought so far out of that?
Zilch.
Or are we saying that COVID is just one-off events, and for that matter?
But beyond that, we need ventilators. That's
the point.
Beyond
that's
that,
the point, because there are people with other conditions that need ventilators.
Absolutely.
So basically, COVID came to basically just expose how weakness we are when it comes to our health sector. How we need certain equipment in order to make our health sector a better one. So once we're given that opportunity, and we're given that amount of money, what are some of the things that we're supposed to do? That is why I'm saying that the Ghana Health Service must be bold and speak truth to power. Because you are the people working in a health facility. You are the people who are working in a facility that doesn't have this kind of equipment. So if you really care about the patient and care about the welfare of the good people of this country, you should be bold enough and tell the president, listen, how much have been given to you so far to fight against COVID? How many ventilators have you procured so far?
Thank you.
So that get us even involved when it comes to the procurement of this facility.
Thank you very much. Mr. Eneku, I mean, let's hear from you. Your overall assessment, first of all, of how we have dealt with the issue of COVID-19 and the possibility of a second wave hitting us and our preparedness for same, please.
Well, thank you. I don't think that we have dealt very well with the COVID-19 pandemic, which is a public health issue. We have not dealt well with it because the infrastructure to deal with our public health system is weak. Our thinking has always been that by putting up brick and mortar, we are ready to go, which is not true. You need to build institutions, and you need to build the technology of those institutions to be able to cope with whatever exigencies might come. I don't think that we have been lucky or blessed about COVID. The truth of the matter is that we live in what I call an ignorance bliss. We are simply not speaking the truth. The state is not speaking the truth as the government. And that is why now they don't even give us information about it.
Speaking the truth about what?
Speaking the truth about the real extent of the COVID pandemic in our country. What is the data like as far as the people who are dying in this country as at present and dying from COVID? We are told about a certain amount. Is that really the truth? Are we testing? Do we really know? We are no more testing now, or we are hardly testing. Do we really know the extent to which people are infected? We don't. So there's a certain blanket of ignorance has been created. First, there was the propaganda. Oh, we're sharing food, when they were throwing it from flatbeds to people like they were animals. You understand? Sadly, they didn't know where the poor places were in this country for them to have gone to treat them like human beings, to give them food when they had a lockdown. Then they realized that they could make money out of it. Then they turned the whole thing into a commodity, into a procurement issue, where the cabal, as usual, are making their money out of it, using state resources and incurring more debt for us by collecting money from the World Bank ostensibly for it. But they were interested in simply how they would cream off, as part of the aid industry, where a certain cabal always creams off part of it and leaves debts for us. But the most important thing is that they are diverting the issues by blaming us. They are telling we, the people of Ghana, that we are so stupid, we don't know the dangers of COVID, and that we are to blame for it. It's just like the garbage in the streets, that I'll make an open gutter. I won't provide you with a garbage bin. And when you put garbage in the gutter, then it means it is your fault that there's flooding. That is how the political elite in this country sees the people of our country. For everything, they told us that it's not normal, we have to live with COVID. They've told us that we have to live with COVID. It's the new normal. So if it's the new normal, what do you expect them to do? So if it's the new normal, it must be part of the market. And part of the market means making money. And making money is by the cabal, by the ruling elite. They must make money out of it. They must use state resources, cream of state resources, loot, etc., etc. And then push the propaganda that, no, it is not our fault. It is your fault. You are not putting up the mask. You are not observing social distance. Who are the ones breaking the social distance? Isn't it the politicians?
Absolutely.
They do it. It's vivid on the television. They don't care. When you ask them, they say, it is not us. The people followed us. You see some of the political leaders in vehicles throwing out money. And you think that human beings won't congregate because they are poor, taking advantage of their poverty, of their vulnerability. And then later on, they'll turn around and blame them. Yes, this COVID is very, very serious. I think that we in Africa, because of our weak institutions, which doesn't allow us to report in real time what is happening, we have sort of cocooned ourselves to think that we are okay. Yeah, you understand. It is not happening here. Meanwhile, we have opened our borders. At least by air. The people are coming in, they are bringing it. The Americans, the British, they are now closing up again. The British, I think on Thursday, they are having a lockdown.
Yeah.
The Italians, they are dying, and the Spaniards. You get my point. So we ought to do something. We ought to demand that our government does something. And the first thing that you should do is to be open with us. Our institutions. That's why the CPP says that we will rebuild Ghana by restoring trust in government. Public institutions must be built. They must be able to give us real, accurate information, irrespective of what the political class thinks. Because we have to put people there based on meritocracy. And that's what the CPP is interested in. Are you fit for the job? Can you do it? Can you speak truth to power? That is what we need to build our country. We need to build the state again. Our institutions have atrophied. And that is why there's a cover-up on this COVID thing. Now they are seeing that they can't cover up, so they've started filtering information through the state media that it is coming again, but it is not our fault, it is your fault. And that's not right. That shows you how they look down, how they are condescending upon the people of Ghana. That's why we are saying that, asking the people of Ghana to give the duopoly an electric shock come 7th December. But if you want to have more COVID, you want to have more poverty, you want to have more corruption, more nepotism, etc., then, of course, vote for the duopoly.
I see. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Heneku. Let's now deal with some corruption-related issues here, and I'm sure that if you are a Ghanaian, you may have come across, if not on TV, on social media, an issue that has to do with Kroll and Associates, which led to the former Auditor General being asked to proceed on leave. That obviously was met with some uproar from a larger section of the Ghanaian people on social media and on other tabloids, particularly the civil society organizations who, on the basis of this, have gone to court to, ask the court for a declaration as to whether or not the president acted within his power as given him by the Constitution to allow or to ask the Auditor General Domolevo to proceed on leave. Now, this matter has come up again because right after Domolevo was asked to proceed on leave, the new Auditor General decided to discontinue with the matter. And obviously, people began raising eyebrows and asking questions and making, and trying to find out whether or not indeed the sacking of Domolevo was orchestrated for the sole purpose of nipping this particular issue in the bud. Not in its right form, but in its negative form. Not in good faith, but in bad faith. So it's imperative, without more, that we address this particular issue because Kweku Azar has joined the fray of Ghanaians who are not enthused about how the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has handled the issue of Kroll and Associates, particularly when the senior minister was fingered in this particular matter. Mr. Yeneku, again, let me start with you before I go to Delali. What do you make of this whole Kroll and Associate Buhaha and the fact that the issues even we're facing? All these Auditor General issues, he has to leave, all of these matters. What do you make of it, please?
Well, thank you. I think that it shows how dysfunctional our governance system is, where the executive is so much imbued with power that it can do whatever it wants. And as the saying goes, you can talk as much as you want, we'll mind you and do what we want. And that is what is happening. And that's what inevitably leads to revolution. Leads to people getting onto the street.
Yep.
Because there are constitutional provisions where the Auditor General has a mandate. He's supposed to do certain work. He's supposed to be protected by the Constitution. The Constitution is gerrymandered. The law is taken around, convoluted, and then the political ruling elite, that's what sets an individual aside in order to have its way so that the shine which should be on public finances is dimmed. Now, where there's no transparency, where there's no light on public finances, then dark things happen. And the dark things which has happened is this allegation that there was supposed to be an audit by a foreign company, not even a Ghanaian company, and $1 million was paid to it, and it did not do any work.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the Cocoa Marketing Board, Cocoa Routes. There's supposed to be an audit. It's supposed to have been done by one of the political appointees in the Council of State, which was a conflict of interest and wrong. And then they can't even show it to us because we don't know whether it was done or not, whether it was done right or it wasn't done right. It means, is the state working? Are institutions working? They are not. We are almost a failed state. And what is even more of a tragedy is that they are not ashamed of it. They have absolutely no moral pricking of their conscience that people will see through what they are doing. They are doing it without regards to anything. They don't care. They don't care damn about anybody. Everybody can go to hell except them. That is where our state is now. It is not about Domolevo. It's about the institutions of accountability which is supposed to be enshrined in the Fourth Republican Constitution and how it works.
Of course. I mean, it's crucial, but because all the Auditor Generals that we've had, and I think I want to have an occasion to speak to this issue. And then I made the point that I think the Auditor General must be given some prosecutorial powers so they can prosecute people by themselves other than going through the Auditor, the Attorney General, etc. So we have Domolevo, who has defied the odds, right? And was trying to prosecute somebody who is a senior minister in this administration.
I wouldn't say that Domolevo's personality doesn't account for it. But what I'm saying is that why has the new acting Auditor General acquiesced?
Absolutely. Well,
because he was his appointment.
I get your point.
His appointment as a patronage.
Yeah.
So to Akufo-Addo.
So the institutional paralysis, sort of.
Precisely.
Okay.
Domolevo transcended it because he probably was not appointed by
this
Akufo-Addo.
administration, so it was not pandering.
And then he was supposed to have constitutional guarantees about his job. But by he being removed surreptitiously, you understand? The new acting Auditor General has realized that he can also be removed. So his interest, personal interest, has come to the fore to protect himself by acquiescing to the powers that be. So there's something wrong with the Constitution.
Absolutely.
There's something wrong with the powers, the Constitution guarantees for the Auditor General. There's something wrong with the unbridled power of the executive. Why should even the president appoint the Auditor General? It should be an all-party commission. Yeah. It should go through the Public Services Commission and an all-party commission or whatever of eminent people should do the appointment for Chiraj, for the EC, and all those. And the CPP, we are seeing exactly that in our manifesto. We should take that powers away from the presidency. Because we have seen the presidency use his powers precisely to protect a corrupt deal.
Absolutely.
And all that they need to do is to roll out their propaganda juggernaut to come out and blame the other person or recall that Atta Mills removed somebody or equalize or muddy the whole thing or bring out a scandal to make us forget about it. That is what is happening in this failed state of ours. The failed state occasioned by the long rule of the duopoly. And that is why the duopoly must be chalked out for a new CPP government to come into power.
Right. Succinctly delivered, short, straight to the point. Darling.
The issue about corruption is just becoming like a daily affair under this dispensation. But I've always maintained one thing, that, I mean, once you are dealing with people who come from a diverse background, brought up from a different home, to join political party, there's always that tendency where you might have one or two people within your government who might go astray when it comes to issues about corruption. And what is important as a leader is to crack the whip. As like what happened during the era of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, where his own appointees were taken through the due process. And exactly. And as I speak to you now, some of them, like you made rightly mention, Honorable Bugapele is currently languishing in jail. And the processes that led to that incarceration started during His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. That is a mark of leadership. That tells you that President Mahama, when it comes to his commitment and dedication fighting against corruption, he was not engaging in empty rhetoric. He was not the type who protects his own appointees, who became a clearing agent and say, I've cleared you, I've cleared you.
I see.
That is why there's a wanton corruption in this particular dispensation.
But somebody will immediately disagree with you.
Yeah? On that, on what score?
The Brazil.
The Brazil what? And you've read the report?
The coconut that was...
No, that is absolutely falsehood that the MPP threw out there. I mean, the issue about the fact that they were buying coconuts, these amounts of money here and there. I mean, this is our all falsehood. Is it Kwame? What I always tell people is time is the mother of all vindication.
Okay.
All the lies that were told by the MPP. Today they are in power.
Right.
And now they've been exposed.
Okay.
You see, were we not in this country?
Just to clarify that.
Were we not in this when they said President Mahama has built hotels in Dubai and what have you not? I mean, these are people who have developed the penchant of lying. The only consistent thing about the MPP is to lie. Kwame, dealing with the substantive issues. You see, President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. I've read Professor Kokuaza's piece, thought-provoking. He has raised certain legitimate points. What President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo have managed to do is anybody who rises or anybody who comes to the defense of this country, who comes to the defense of the taxpayers' money, who comes to expose his corrupt appointees, you become his number one enemy. They've demonstrated that when it comes to investigative journalism, like what they call Manasseh and what they call Manasseh Awuni. They did the same thing to Anas Awumi, an investigative what we call journalist celebrated all over the world. They've done that against even journalists, state institutions. The very moment you expose any corruption done in this particular dispensation, you become their number one target. They unleash their what they call attacking dogs on you, use the state's machinery to guard you. That is what they have managed to do. This is President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo when we adore what they call Mr. Daniel Domelevo. When he was appointed, the sort of things that the NPP said about him, he's a man of what they call high integrity, he's a man of high repute, he's a man of this. He's a man who will help the president to curb corruption. But the moment the man decided to say that, listen, I am here first and foremost to protect the purse, the public purse, to protect what belongs to the good people of this country. All of a sudden, he has become the number one enemy of the NPP government. What has he done wrong? That the senior minister, Mr. Osafo Marfo, decided to engage the services of a private audit firm, which in our constitution, the state institution that is mandated to undertake this exercise is the Auditor General Department. You took a private entity that they've engaged in an exercise, and you have paid them a whopping $1 million. $1 million. Which, if I'm not mistaken, is equivalent to, you are talking almost about, what do you call it, 100 billion old Ghana cedis and what have you. You've given it to them, free bonto, for no work done. And the Auditor General said, listen, I have to dig deeper and unravel what we call it, what is behind all these things. Let me investigate and expose the corrupt deal in this particular, what we call it, exercise. And the President of the Republic of Ghana is not happy about it. A president who fought the 2016 election on the back of corruption. The man we're told is incorruptible. I said that invisibility surrounding the president has been shattered to pieces. Nobody, Kwame, that is what I told you the other time. President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo has not been bold enough to make the issue of corruption during this campaign period. Somebody should produce one single statement that president has made talking about corruption. Because he knows he has failed woefully. He knows he's deeply involved when it comes to corruption. He knows he's the one that sanctions all the corruption deal that goes on in the administration. And he has proven without countless, without number, his action and inaction, confirmed that the President of the Republic of Ghana, President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo himself, is deeply involved in corruption. That is why he has no any boldness or temerity to talk about corruption. That is why he lacked the moral right to talk about corruption.
Maybe he's addressed the issue of corruption.
What issue about corruption here?
Raising it.
You as an Auditor General, a man that is at the forefront to ensure that this country is rid of corruption, to expose corrupt deal in this particular dispensation, or when it comes to state institution, that the only reason why you are going after that man is because your senior minister has paid a whopping $1 million to Crown and associate for no work done. And that is the crime of the Auditor General. That is the crime of Mr. Daniel Domelevo. What crime has he committed? Should this man not be given an Order of Voter award? Should he not be celebrated? Should we not even give a special day that will say we are celebrating such a man of high integrity? That the President of the Republic of Ghana feels that, listen, by virtue of he doing his job, expose the level of wanton corruption he has been, for that matter, it makes his government unpopular. Or the president is saying that because Osafo Marfo is part of the cabal, so he should not be dealt with. And Kwame, another issue the Auditor General raises this. You remember the Gitmo 2 issue? What was the ruling by the Supreme Court? Did they not declare that it was illegal because it didn't go to Parliament? See, what kind of precedent are we setting? Kwame, you people are into law. See, sometimes there are certain ruling in this country. It makes law to me unattractive. Honestly speaking, Because I know there's something you people call precedent. Is that not it? So when the Supreme Court ruled and said that, listen, the issue about the Gitmo did not, what you call, get parliamentary approval, for that matter, it's illegal. We are talking about any issue that borders on national security. The Supreme Court will invoke its jurisdiction and say, listen, because it did not go to Parliament for that matter, they declared null and void. And you are talking about a transaction involving the government of Ghana and a private entity that is not even a Ghanaian, what do you call it, organization.
I think it's Article 182 or something like that. All international transactions
exactly.
in Parliament.
And Kwame, even that notwithstanding,
185.
what was the basis upon which Madam Saloto say was dismissed? Wasn't it about the fact that she violated the issue about procurement? One of the issues that was raised against Madam Saloto says, and this same day we are talking about, they don't go through procurement. So you see, there are precedents, and this President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo is a president that approved to the dismissal of Madam Saloto say. It's under President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo that the NPP raised the issue about the fact that the Gitmo 2 did not go to Parliament for that matter, we should declare null and void. And yet, Mr. Osafo has committed Ghana into a contract of $1 million paid to an entity that we are told that he has certain connections with. And all of a sudden, the Auditor General decides to invoke his powers and go after Mr. Osafo, and all of a sudden, the Auditor General has become an enemy to President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo government. You quickly said he should go on what we call involuntary leave 167 days. Just because you are not happy about what he's doing. And you took the matter to court. And that is why I keep on saying, Kwame, let's be careful. See, I think sometimes we are losing certain historical antecedents. I think let's be careful the way we are going about certain things in this country. Because when certain pronouncement has been made by the judiciary, are we curbing corruption, or we are trying to, what we call, give an incentive to people who engage in corruption?
Why?
Look, if you are telling me that a senior minister has engaged in this act that violates procurement law, that has even violated what we call parliamentary, whatever it is, and yet you don't see anything wrong with it.
Article 181, Clause 5 of the Constitution. Yeah,
exactly. God, thank you. Thank you for the
transactions.
Exactly.
Must go to Parliament for parliamentary approval.
Exactly.
All international transactions.
So the point is, so what President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo has managed is, listen, I feel that Daniel Domelevu is somebody who is a thorn in my flesh, is someone who is exposing a series of corruption in my administration. For that matter, we cannot do with you. Let's find a way and just boot him out. Look at what they did to him. Even before the man even exited his office, who goes to leave? Kwame, if you decide to, if they ask you to proceed on leave, must they come and change your locker?
Bring padlock.
Bring padlock and change your locker. The president has demonstrated that he has never been committed when it comes to fighting against corruption. That is why you see, there's one thing I always say. In 2016, we were so much focused on His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, forgotten about the fact that the person who potentially could become president in the event that the NDC lose the election was President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo. What was his demeanor, his posture, his character when he was not even candidate Nana Danko Akufo-Addo? Did you read the Hillington report? Where certain amount of money belonging to the NPP were siphoned. That even as we speak, they don't know how the money was mismanaged. President Nana Danko Akufo was then candidate Nana Danko Akufo-Addo. That even certain NPP members raised the issue about, listen, this money, there has been a sustained here and there, what have you. And that is exactly what the president is demonstrating. We have seen PDS. As we speak, nothing has been done about it. We have seen the boss scandal, nothing has been done about it. We've seen the Japan, what we call rotten deal, nothing has been done about it. And there's one interesting thing. You look at it, Mr. Osafo is always involved in one scandal or the other.
Hey.
Oh yeah, that is the truth.
Which one?
The Japan deal. His son was the one, is the one fronting for it.
That's his son, not him.
It doesn't matter why. You think the son was giving that, but for his father, his son would have been given this, what we call juicy, what we call Kwame. But for Osafo
yes,
Kwame, it's not, it's not a matter of what assumption.
You are assuming.
If we are assuming,
Kwame, it's not a statement of fact.
Kwame, what you are saying, then President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, all what he said in 2016 were pure assumption.
Were they not?
Conjecture.
Were they not?
I said whatever he said.
Yes.
When he was in opposition, but what you are saying, that brought him to power because he benefited from it. Is that not it? And today he's in power. Are we the ones saying that there's a lot of corruption in his administration? what we call the procurement, what we call boss. What has happened to him?
We are coming to that next.
Yes, sir. So what I'm just saying is President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo has failed to fight against corruption. What is happening is once you speak about corruption in his administration, you become a target.
All right.
They witch hunt you. Whether you're a journalist, whether you work in a state institution, whether even you are one of his appointees, the moment you talk about corruption, you'll be witch hunted. And that is not in any way to fight against corruption. That is not what the president must do when indeed he is committed to fighting against corruption. That is why I'm saying that under this administration, when it comes to corruption, when it comes to stinking deal, where it's being cooked is right there at the presidency. I'm not surprised that Honorable Kenya Japan once said that if you want to see the president, you have to pay $20,000 before you see the president. Is the president Mobutu Sese Seko? Is it Bokassa? Is it Haile Gebila Selassie and what have you not? That if people have to see the president, they have to pay $20,000 before they see the president. So President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, his asking the needs, have demonstrated that he has never been committed when it comes to fighting against corruption. He has never wished to fight against corruption. Because the point is this: the people who are benefiting from corruption under this administration are part of the cabal. They are part of his what we call his inner caucus. They are the people that he himself will to listen. Let's do this. Let's do this. When we get this money, listen, we are enriching even a generation yet unborn. That is exactly what he's doing. Because civil society rose up to the occasion and made certain important arguments that listen, somebody in the caliber of Mr. Domelevo is somebody who will be able to lead the corruption fighting in this country. Why should any government, why should any president who is really committed and dedicated to fighting against corruption find ways and means to ensure that Mr. Domelevo has to proceed on by force leave? Why should the president do that? So, Kwame, for me, this issue about what Professor Azar has written, like he said, history will never be kind to the president. And it's just a matter of time. I know come 7 December, this government will be booted out of power.
All right.
But come 7 January 2021, there will be a new government. And we'll make sure that all this thinking that has become a daily affair, the corruption that has been cleared by the president, that his appointees are not corrupt. I believe that when the NDC assumes power, His Excellency John Dramani will revisit all these cases and make sure that we bring them to book.
Thank you very much, Delali. So please, of course, why not? Why not?
About Osafo Mafo's son.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is that Ejapa and other things, sale of land, public lands and everything, is it made public?
No.
Do we go according to the procurement law? Ejapa, I could have also gone to do it.
Yeah.
You could have gone to do it. He could have gone to do it. If it was public, we could all have bid.
Okay, I see the anger.
But where it is a closed shop, then when he says that it is because of his relationship, then of course it makes sense.
Okay, I know. I agree with you. I agree with you. To the extent that it wasn't made public.
Yes.
It was shrouded in some secrecy.
Because this is not for his family. It's not his family heirloom.
Yeah.
The gold belongs to all of us.
All of us. That's true. Well, let me read a few messages that have come through, and then I will proceed to discuss the final issue here. Please, NDC parliamentary candidates should work hard in their various constituencies and stop appearing on TV shows. We want to sweep majority of the seats from Alhaji Haruna in Ashaiman. This one is from Dr. Bedi Kwadaso in Kumasi. Says, police in Bruno, aka police in Bruno. Fellow Ghanaians, let's challenge former President John Dramani Mahama to name a single equal opportunity created for all Ghanaians when he was president of the country before his promise to create equal opportunities for Ghanaians. Are you saying this because you're an MPP person or because you genuinely believe that Mahama never created opportunities for anybody? Dr. Kingsley Nyako incoming MP for Kwadaso, you say you want to greet him this morning. All right. Good morning to KOD and the panelists. It's been a while since the other panelists surfaced. Well, I used to refer to him as etc. etc. He's welcome back. But African TV show, only the best for objective-minded Ghanaians. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, yeah. You understand. Good morning, Kwame. I thank Delali for always speaking the truth. Thank you, sir. And this one says it's from Sefia Moklu. Says, as December election approaches, let us be reminded that GN Bank once had branches in every district with neatly built brick structures put up by themselves with thousands of workers who are now home without work. Let's all be reminded of the hundreds of works that were collapsed along the Amasaman and Sawam Road in the name of reconstructing it. But till date, contractors are nowhere to be found. Vote the MPP out for restoration of hope to ordinary Ghanaian. Well, that's true. Yesterday, on Saturday when we were coming from Nalerigu, on the stretch, we saw about 3 or 4 GN banks. And where they were, I'm not sure Ghana Commercial Bank will even go there. The guy, he did well, actually. Good morning to you, KOD. In fact, tell EC to pay us the registration allowance. Hey, you said you didn't add your name. This one says, hi, good morning to you. I'm Jemfi David from Ahafo Region, Kukum, Asunafo South Australia. I'm watching you live. Keep it up. Too short for JM. Well, thank you. Abraham from Gambaga says, every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist once he grows up. Hey, what are you talking about, brother? Gambaga. How's Gambaga? I was there over the weekend. Champion, KOD, when someone is saying we set up this, we set up that to fight corruption, it's an insult to our intelligence. Setting up the institutions is an easy thing to do, that any government can do. But what has come out of the office is the bottom line. They're using all foul means to get rid of Auditor General because he's exposing their corrupt practices. Thank you very much, sir, for your message this morning. You want my number? I see. We'll talk about that. Good morning to Pan African TV. Sam says, I regret being an African because of our leaders and the way they behave. Bruce from Obuasi sent in this one. Champion, welcome back. In fact, the absence was felt with joy by Mamiama. Hey, you are not lawyer. You people, you are not lawyer. Well, KOD, I've not heard from the media or seen in any paper this morning about the issue that NDC raised yesterday regarding the EC printing ballot extra papers without the knowledge of the opposition parties from James. I think somebody shared something like that with me. Okay. Good morning to you, Mr. Host. Why is Nanado and his family capturing everything in Ghana? In fact, we are tired of his nepotistic government. I'm Omega from Koranza. Hi, good morning, KOD. I always enjoy your show, and in fact, I personally like you. You made me laugh a lot this morning when the Myong issue. Oh, but please, okay, KOD, help me find it in this country. I know very well your minister have children, and she must be very careful in this country. Abuchi Philip from Keita constituency. Lovely Akosia from Kaswa says, fellow Ghanaians, please, COVID-19 is still with us. We need to adhere to all safety protocols. Please note that some countries are currently recording high number of cases again, and we cannot take that risk, so we need to be very careful. Regards to Honorable Mavis, Howard Kumsin and Mr. Kofi Owusu Cancer of ADC, lovely Akosia from Kaswa sent in this one. Please, where is Israel Edgar? This is the time we need him to give us advice on this election. Leviticus Power says the perceived electoral violence in the forthcoming December 7th election must squarely be put on the doorsteps of the opposition NDC, which is propagating violence. Have they propagated violence? Ghanaians are ready to vote for another and 4 more years, and Kaswa is voting for Howard Kumsin to continue her good works. Kwame Abuaji in Cape Coast says Ghana's debt from 2008 to 2012, NDC increased the debt stock by 243% between 2012 and 2016, 267%. Since 2012, the MPP has increased the debt stock by 70%. You guys, when I see this kind of analysis, I laugh and I shrink. You're freaking paying the same thing. It doesn't matter the percentage. You have borrowed 200 and something billion. That is the fact. So it's not about percentage. You know, I hear that analysis, right? And I laugh. Yeah. I said, what kind of economics is that? You've got to borrow 3 billion Ghana cedis. Somebody borrowed 50 billion. And you said that the person who borrowed 50 billion borrowed at the percentage of 263. So my 149 billion is better than his. Are you serious? Like, do you have your head on your neck? Come on, guys. Let's think. Okay? You and I are struggling. You have no idea. I wish one day all Ghanaians will come to terms with the fact that we need to outgrow the pettiness. We need to outgrow the rigid mental set about the fact that because I'm from Ashanti region, I have to vote for MPP. By all means, MPP has to win. Because I'm from the voter region, I have to vote for NDC. By all means, NDC has to. I think we must reset ourselves. You know, to come to terms with the fact that we have a nation to build, and it's a shared responsibility. Otherwise, leaders will continue to take us for a ride. They will continue to make you poor. They will impoverish you, because the more you are poor, the more your concerns would be about how to get your daily meal and not about how to build Ghana. But when you have money and you are comfortable, you are thinking about the economy. How can the economy work? Okay, where can I invest? So if the government is not creating that avenue for you to invest, you boot him out. Then if you're hungry and they bring you 200 Ghana cedis, Charlie, your vote has been bought. We must move away from there. You understand what I'm trying to say? Let's think about Ghana deeply, really, about this nation and how we can build it and how the youth, the young people can get jobs to do in the next 10, 15 years. What can we do? There are no jobs. Like, there are no jobs. It's not even funny. So if you want to say something.
Yeah, what I want to say is that
interesting.
Some of us have become insular in our thinking. We don't think outwardly. I was watching television over the weekend on one of your sister broadcasting companies, and they were showing the Kejetia market, and it was quite beautiful. I mean, and they were interviewing this lady and asking her about her preference for a party, and it is the government. And she even went on to lie that the present government built it when she damn well knew that it was not true. So we become insular thinking. Our considerations for choices have become so outmoded that it is only because of name or where you come from, but not your well-being.
Of course.
Not your well-being, not whether economically the country is doing okay, or whether you yourself you are making it, or whether you have access to what you are entitled to have, or whether the resources of our country are being equitably shared.
Absolutely.
You understand? Like this debt thing you are talking about. Let us interrogate the debt structure. What do we use debt for? Do we use debt, you go and borrow money to just buy food and eat? Or you go and borrow money to invest in something which will bring returns? Let me go into history. Akoso Boda. Ghana paid half of the cost of Akoso Boda. The other half was borrowed. But we were accused, like the Mahama government is being accused, of having excess electricity because we are not electrified the whole country. What did we do with the excess electricity? We quickly sold it to Togo and Benin, then Dahomey, got foreign exchange, and paid off our debt on Akosombo within 8 years. That is forward thinking. So, as far as Akosombo is concerned, it is ours. We don't owe nobody. You understand? But when you take a debt where the profile, you are unable to point out to any strategic project which can pay for itself and contribute to the national development, then it's problematic.
I agree.
And then you use a whole lot of other revenue to pay interest rates on that debt. Then it is crazy.
Absolutely.
You are working for the money lender.
Yesterday, when we got to the airport, and Delali, maybe you can also touch on this. Yesterday, when we got to the airport, there was we're just, guys having like general conversations about our country and things like that. And one person made a very important point, and I thought that was very smart. He said, okay, so we collapsed banking institutions that was paying people at the very minimum 1,000 Ghana cedis, right? We collapsed it and created NAPCO. That is not even sustainable. That pays people between 500 to 700 Ghana. Which one is better?
You see, Kwame, was it last week Wednesday? I was.
Our job creation must not be political. You see that? No. It's not even about you. I'm talking about the viewers, the very good people who are watching us this morning, who are even perhaps more intelligent than some of us sitting here, right? But the truth of the matter is that when it comes to, I describe them as the lungs of the economy: education, health, job, infrastructure, and agriculture. All those are the lungs of the economy, because all these things cumulatively creates a better atmosphere for survival. so that somebody can be very confident. Then they won't fly out to the United States of America to go and give them their services when they could have invested those services here in Ghana, right?
Yeah.
So job creation and all of those things, youth development and things like that, must not be politicized at all. I think that we must decouple politics from that reality, because people don't have jobs.
According to the truth of the matter,
Yes,
is
sir.
that job creation is political.
No, it's political.
It might not be. It should. What probably you want to say is that we should not make it partisan.
Partisan. Okay, well, yes, that's what I was
But
saying.
it is a
That's
political.
correction.
It is a political
It's a political
question.
question. That's fantastic.
Why do the political elite make people jobless?
Yeah.
In order for them to be able to bribe them.
Absolutely. I think I was just
To patronize
partisan.
them.
Yeah, partisanship, extreme partisanship. You can be partisan, but still, be
Exactly.
forward-looking. So Mr. Eneku is right. So the issue about job creation must not be looked at from the perspective of partisanship, extreme partisanship, right? But from a national political perspective, so that we can politically nationalize the conversation and deal with it and address it as such.
You see, Kwame, last Wednesday, as a constituency communicator, they invited us to Cape Coast for a meeting. When I got to Mankesi roundabout, and I look at the right-hand side, and I saw Dr. Parkwesi Ndum, GN Group, their regional office. Kwame, I was in tears. You see, like you said, as to why somebody who is a member of the NPP want to just find any excuse, any reason. There's no reason on earth that would justify the collapse of GN Bank. And I want to repeat it again. See, it doesn't matter what you say. See, in America in 2007, there's something they call the American dream. It doesn't matter how a company who is an American company will mess up. You know how much they injected to revive some of the Wall Street, some of these banks? Almost about $700 billion. And when you look at the number of students, the number of people, young guy like you said, arithmetic like you put it, somebody is permanently employed, taking a minimum, let's say, average 1,000 Ghana cedis. Let's say that is the statistic. And you have collapsed that job and giving somebody a temporary job, paying the person 700 Ghana. And you have a young person in this country. Because I love NPP for that matter, you want to justify this? You know how many people were dependent on these people?
That's the chain. You know that the chain. That's the chain. I would like to touch on
You
that.
see, and God, you know what is sad? You see, sometimes when I talk about this financial collapse, what people don't see, like I said, they change us. Is it like this? Excuse me, is it like this? People who are engaged in this small scale mining. Do you know how much money they have saved with these banks, these loans and savings, this fund management? And now what is basically happening is this. You have collapsed the small scale mining. The little money that you have saved with these small savings and loans, these banks, the money too is locked. Double jeopardy. You know what you are putting them through?
That's why I've asked for my phone. Mr. Eneku, do you know that Data Bank was saving, I think, with Gold Coast Fund Management or something?
God!
Do you know they withdrew their money before the bank?
Come on.
Yeah,
Come on.
I will show. I have
Come, you see,
So it's deliberate.
Come, you see. So how can you be this insensitive? You who even is lucky to be in a position, financially and what have you not, position of privilege. You decided to go for your money before collapsing that institution. And if for nothing at all, do you know the number of lives Dr. Parkwesi Ndum have transformed in this country? Do you know the number of lives Dr. Kwame have transformed in this country? Is the NPP as a political party, once upon a time, did they not go to UT to go and take a loan? Did the flag bearer of the NPP at that time, is he not one of the beneficiaries who took loan from UT Bank or what have you not? Because you see, whatever we do, we should be mindful of the fact that people will not be so angry to a point that when there's a change of government, people will also perceive that certain financial institutions belong to certain political parties. They will not take the law into their own hand and start doing certain things that probably it will take this country into a different way, we call it. Into a different way, we call it, I don't know what have you. Because some of the things that are going on, Kwame, you meet people in the hotel that listen, I was working here. I pick Uber a lot. Sometimes you pick Uber driver. He said, "Listen, oh, okay, I was working in this bank. I was working in this so organization. I was working in this financial institution. As I speak to you now, listen, my money is not there. I'm not working. I've been looking for a job. I'm not working." Some of them will tell them, "Listen, because of that, my wife have left me. Because of that, my children have dropped out of school. Because of that, even a project that I was putting has been halted. Because of that, even money that I took from here, what have you, I'm being pursued 247." And you listen to this harrowing and these stories, and you are somebody who is a youth out there, and you think that you love your MPP more than Ghana. You think that you don't care.
It's true, Mr. And I'm raising this issue primarily also because of the fact that there's a lot that we are losing as a nation to corruption, right? And one would have thought that because of how the MPP, when they were in opposition, trumpeted the fact that we were losing so much to corruption, and that they even described the then administration as very corrupt and things like that. I would have thought that they would have acted differently. But with all the things that we're seeing relative to corruption, it appears it's even worse in these times. And that feeds into our inability to create jobs for people. So if you read this particular story, which is captured by the Ghanaian Times newspaper, which says the PPA CEO's appointment terminated over conflict of interest misconduct. If you read the report, and this is from the Auditor General's report, how about 14 point something billion Ghana cedis cannot be accounted for? Which money could have been used to create jobs for people to do, at the very least, to even build roads, for our market women to be able to transport their commodities, of their farm produce from the villages to the cities, Mr. Eneku. I mean, are you not dumbfounded by some of these revelations that we're seeing? And this is not just the first or the last, perhaps, because they are still in power. We don't know when the last scandal will surface. But from Bost to Kroll and Associates to which other ones? A lot of them. And now this.
I think there's a systemic failure. That's why we told you that the state itself, there's a dysfunction in the governance system. We have a lot of laws on our books. Why isn't those laws automatically kicked in, irrespective of whoever is the president or the political appointees? We should be asking ourselves, just like there are constitutional guarantees for Auditor General, Chiraj, Electoral Commissioner, but we still find ways of jigging the system in order to have our way to put our appointees there who will do our bidding. That is, corrupt the bureaucracy itself in order to push our thing. You realize that there's a market failure. Mm-hmm. The market itself has failed.
Absolutely.
Because the rules we were given for the market we are supposed to be operating, those rules are not being adhered to. It's like the law of the jungle. Everybody does whatever he wants. So as soon as you get political power, you use that political power to take all the resources, to monopolize the resources, to create, there's some sort of rat race, where rats eat rats.
Yeah.
And now the big rats are the ruling cabal. So they are eating all the other rats, taking everything.
I describe it as a principle of Robin Hoodism. Elite Robin Hoodism, where the elite rather steal from the poor. And
of course.
And so
in the end, they are stealing from us, and they are eating themselves.
Absolutely.
They are eating the other guys around.
Yeah.
We need the Pied Piper of Hamelin. You remember the Pied Piper of Hamelin? To come and, that's got to be the CPP, to come and make sure that all the rats are moved from the town of Hamelin. You understand? Other than that, our country will descend into chaos.
Very soon.
Because, you see, we talk about the fact that, the people are indisciplined, etc. Why are the people indisciplined? They are copying what the leaders are doing. Are the leaders disciplined? Are they abiding by the rules? Are they obeying the laws? There's no place, there's no sector in our country where anything is done right. We allow, for example, foreigners to swamp artisanal mining, and we go against Ghanaians. Yeah. We label them as galamsey, say that they are illegals, use the coercive powers of the state, the army and the police, go and fight them. If they have some equipment, we burn them. And then we allow foreigners to rather come and take our gold. Let me ask a question. When did Ghana or this part of the world get the accolade of Gold Coast? About 400 years ago. Were these big mining companies here mining gold when we got the accolade of gold? Weren't our people ourselves mining the gold and selling the gold? Weren't we selling so much gold that we were given the accolade of Gold Coast? So we said that we didn't know how to mine gold. Why do we push some people to the margins? And when they try to make a living, we attack them and remove them from that sector, replace them with foreigners, because foreigners will give us something small, like they did 400 years ago when they sold youth, intellectually high up there, fiscally strong, for velvet and schnapps. Why? And that is what is happening. They do it, and then they go on holidays, and then they buy Mercedes-Benz with the loot. There's no development. They'll give you some tokens and say, look at what we have done. Look, we have built this. Or we are going to dualize the Akosobo Thermal Road. For 4 years, you didn't do it. 3 months to the end that you want to do it. Are we going to live by intentions, or we are going to live by deeds? We need a new development paradigm in this country. We need to sanitize the state. We need to rebuild our country. We need to restore trust in government.
How do we do that? Because with the bevy of politicians that we have, how do we sanitize the system? How do we make them accountable?
By giving them an electric shock.
How do we make them accountable? I can appreciate all of that, right? But how do we make the people accountable? Because accountability must necessarily address the fundamental challenges confronted. Because if people feel that if they steal from the state, nothing happens, they are emboldened to do that. If you want to even cite this as an example, what has happened to him? He's been fired, right? But has not been made to either refund or account.
And he has not been taken to the court.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to comment even on the judiciary as far as the cruel associates. Yeah. The truth of the matter is that the judiciary is also part of the cabal. You see, the judiciary is presented as the arbiter in disputes. But it is not true. They are on the side of somebody. Because how can you look at this? Something which has not been done, it is paid for. Something which has not passed through parliament, it is done. And then you let it go. And you say you are giving a judicial decision on it. And we are supposed to accept that because you wear a wig and some black gown.
It's interesting.
It is right. Yeah. We need to demystify all these institutions. The members, the personnel who are working in these institutions are always putting their personal interest and their political interest before the work they are supposed to do. And I bet you most of them are not even up to the job. And because we have not insisted on meritocracy in this country, in the bureaucracy, that is why we are having a failed state.
Mr. Eneku, touches on the issue from a very passionate perspective. Indeed, his submission has pierced through my heart, and it must pierce through your heart if you are somebody who cares deeply about the well-being of our dear nation, Ghana. As others have described it, the country is in intensive care unit, and all of us must play a part to ensure that we draw our bloods that will help revive the country for the betterment of posterity. Everything that we do here is not for us. We must make sure that everything that we do benefits posterity. That is why we're here. That is our mission here. So let me bring into the conversation, and perhaps that's the final straw for you, my brother Delali Sewapo, in respect of this subject matter, and then we wrap up for today. Please.
The issue about the PP, what do you call it, boss, who was suspended, and now we are told he's been fired. Like you asked, just fired, and what happened afterwards? I mean, when we even read the law of causing financial loss to the state, if you come to appreciate instances where certain people were incarcerated, and you compare it to what he did, don't you think we are not being fair to certain people that, as we speak, they are currently in jail? This is a man who himself turned himself into a contractor. He's the one that approved contracts, how contracts is being awarded to people. His own company happens to be one of the beneficiaries. He engaged people. He opened organization. He tells them the processes. As far as the contract is concerned, they know the pros and cons of the contract. They comes, they lobby for the contract. He gave them the contract on a silver platter. He has benefited a huge amount. He has benefited a huge amount of money, to the extent that when you read the report, his account at Stanbic Bank, you have US dollar account, which is $516,250. You have 3.83 million Ghana cedis. You have the UNB account, you have $110,000, which turns out to be, these are the proceeds that he got from all these shady deals. And you're just telling us that he should just step aside? Is that another strategy of fighting against corruption? If myself and you here, if the president's strategy of fighting against corruption is about telling people to step aside, then all of us will probably want a government appointment where we put our deeper hands into the state coffers, take like $100 million, so long as the only remedy we get is to step aside. I don't think this is the way to fight against corruption. I've always said that this government has eroded all the gains that we have made when it comes to fighting against corruption. That tough-speaking President Nana Danso Akufo-Addo that we got to know in opposition, all of a sudden has become more or less like a soft, what they call speaking President Nana Danso Akufo-Addo. Because at the end of the day, he is the one benefiting.
Right.
He's the one getting some of this benefit. So no wonder all of a sudden he has kept so quiet. And now you'll be surprised that he even decided to ask him to step aside because he's getting into an election year. Because Kenya Japan, you remember Kenya Japan said, this man is clean. It's Manasseh who is trying to taint the image of the man. You remember?
I remember.
Kenya Japan is one of the voiceless people within the NPP. That's what he said. So what is Kenya Japan going to say to you?
All right, thank you. Osman Abdallah, let me say a big thank you to you. You treated me very well when I was in Tamale. You're a great guy. Thank you. Thank you. And you sent a message, said, this myong mata. Myong. Good morning, boss. And your panel, I've been asking why some of these politicians look or behave that way. They must have their way through to lead. Boss, kindly help me out. If we agree that leaders are to serve people and people say, no, we don't want you to serve us, must this worry you to the extent of leading to disturbances in a country? But I see this is happening always because of the way politicians have redesigned politics to look like. Tell Mr. Delali that all political parties after getting into office behave the same. So how will or can the GHS ask the government what they have used the money for? But if there's a second wave of COVID-19 in Ghana, trouble, power. You say, welcome back from Nalerugu, but I am waiting to see you in Tumu. I didn't think that I had so much love out there. When I got to Tamale, everybody wanted a piece of me. Makes me so excited. But I'm planning a big peace walk. I don't know whether it would be in Wa or Tamale, but I'm still planning. So when it materializes, I'll let you know. Or when it hatches, I'll let you know. Kwame, welcome back. I missed your show. This is why I like your show. You speak the truth, hard truth. Ibrahim from Medina says, good morning to you, gentlemen. MPP, my problem is this Ghanaian way of thinking. Left to me, these people are so shameless in their corrupt undertakings that they should never ever come near power again. Okay, message quite long. I've done well. Can you lock up YEA 2016 beneficiaries exit fund, the money deducted from our monthly allowances, and say you in for the youth and must give you 4 more? Interesting. Good morning, Kwame. The fact is corruption under this government has now become a governmental institution rather than a crime, and the president is the head of that institution. Why? Because he always preach against the vices of corruption, but he practices it by his actions and inactions. Haj Faisal from Kaswa sent in this one. Seriously, you people are saying the truth. I wish all Ghanaian leaders are thinking this way. God bless you people from Savannah region called SK. Thank you, SK. Good morning to you, Kwame. I think Nanado and his Achim Sakawa boys have the agenda for upcoming power because of what is going on. I can't think for. Please, can I get the list number? Eddie from Newtown, Accra. They want to put your number out? Yes? No? Yes? Sami from Mamprobi says, good morning to you, Kwame. A student who was saving with a microfinance which was collapsed, and now I can't pay for my fees at the university. December 7 party, too sure all the way. See, that's the problem. My mom even has her money locked. MPP must go. You just simply sense that. Good morning to you, Ghanaians. Ghanaians are not timid people, as has been suggested by our politicians. Far from it. The youth may be slow to anger, and may take their time to organize and act. But once they are ready, they strike, and strike hard. The youth are coming after them. Kwame from Kaswa sent in this one. That is a quote by Sergeant for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. 2020 will judge Nana is the worst president in the world. Richard from Suhum says, good morning to you. Please, Al-Hassan Ouattara should be dragged to the International Criminal Court for war crimes. Richard from Suhum sent in this one. And the messages are plenty. I cannot read all of them. Okay. This one says, KOD, what is your stool name? When I saw you in your smock, from James. I don't have a stool name yet, so I need one if you want to give me one. Oh, KOD, okay, I'll read your message. KOD, good morning. I like your outfit today. I cry when I hear the youth of today shouting for more for Nana. I really cry. I am Brim from Adenta. Brim from Adenta, thank you very kindly. I appreciate your message this morning. This one says, the CPP man is a man of intellect. Simplicity from Zach in Wale Wale. Hey, I was in Wale Wale. I took a picture. This one says, Mr. Heneku is a gem. Can I get his number, please? Joe from Akropong. Yes. Okay. So, you want to put it out? Okay. Please.
0244 37 36 22.
That's all. 0244 37 3622. That's Mr. Heneku's number. So, yeah. Don't be calling my dawn, I beg you. Nana Intema says, good morning. The only time the Buzia Dankwa won clean and fair election in Ghana was in 2000, when other parties supported MPP because they wanted NDC out. But after that, no election has been won fairly. Okay, Lagbaja in Accra, I've seen your message. The messages are a lot. Let me... yes, Abdul, I'm back in Accra. Musa, I've read the message already. Mr. Heneku, thank you very much for your time today. Really greatly appreciate your presence here. Thank you to the Dali Serokpo for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure serving you this morning with our morning show. My name is Kwame Owusu. So let me extend a heartfelt gratitude again to the people of Naledigo Gambaga, the people of Samne, the people of Nagbo, the people of Sakogu, the people of Bentere, for your warmth. I really appreciate all the love and the outpour of love that you showed me when I was in Naledigo Gambaga. But most importantly, I'd like to say a big thank you to the parliamentary candidate for the NDC in that area. His name is Alhaji Baba Seidu Isifu, who undoubtedly is winning this particular seat this year because he's worked so hard. The man is even tired, man. I mean, when I saw him, I was like, you've reduced power, you've slimmed down. He said, hey, Charlie, you have to go everywhere. You know, I think the people need to reward him. And from where I sit and stand, I think he has, you know, the people at heart. And I think we need politicians like that, people who genuinely have the people at heart, people who want to articulate the concerns of the people, people who want to represent the people and their plight and their aspirations. I think that those are the people that we must give the opportunity to. And Alhaji Baba Seidu Isifu obviously has that. Also, a big thank you to Honorable Dr. Robert Kugagnablem, MP for Binduri. You have been an exceptional big brother to me. I really appreciate you for everything you did, and your wife, Madame Vida Kugagnablem, for treating me to some wonderful Tuesday. Myself, Justice Apia, Frank Akako, and then Aziz in Tamale. It was a beauty. It was a beauty. Thank you very much, Luxury Restaurant, for that. And Honorable ABF Husseini, you also give us dinner. We're grateful to you, and a special one also to Raj. Is it Raj or Saj? I'll get the name correctly later. But Adam or Ahmed Raj, yes, you gave us dinner in your home in Tamale, close to the Islamic school around the Jisonyaili area. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And finally, a happy birthday to my big sister, Dr. Owusu Danso. You're watching this morning. Happy birthday. We love you. And may God keep you safe for us. We love you. That's all I'll say. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Do have a very wonderful day. Bye-bye.